Hello and welcome to Live Here. Hastings Entertainment has battled for years to stay alive as a brick and mortar retailer in a world of downloadable entertainment. Last week, the retail chain based here in Amarillo filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. Company representatives say there is hope if a buyer can be found that sees the potential in a recent revamp of 20 Hastings stores, including the location on Georgia Street. Hastings President and Chief Operating Officer Jim Litwak joins me here in the Panhandle PBS studio to talk about the corporation's efforts to sell stores and save jobs. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you, Karen.
It's nice to talk with you today. Tell me, first of all, set the scene for me. You joined Hastings in a restructuring that happened in December that was to I guess, correct the direction or again and see where you were going to go with this sale?
Well, I joined Hastings in December and came on to help turn the business around.
Okay.
What we found a company that was bloated in expenses and was following a model that frankly was past its time. So reliant on physical media product, which is continuing to downtrend. Yet when I saw the stores and knowing past ownership, including John Marmaduke, I always felt there was a great opportunity here. You walk into a store and you've got 23,000 square feet, it's really a sandbox you could turn into whatever you want it to turn into. And so we went about saying, okay, let's cut expenses, and we cut $12 million worth of expenses out of the company. It was all fat, to be very honest with you. And then we went about developing a strategy of what we wanted to turn the company into. We got our senior team together and we developed 7 key initiatives that we wanted to drive the business. But the most important one was what's in the box and how are we going to change what's in the box. It wasn't so much a question of changing what was in the box, it was downsizing all that physical media product to what was relevant for today, moving it to the back of the store, and expanding all the growth businesses that we see terrific opportunity on. So growth businesses meaning collectibles, which are all the pop vinyl and figurine things that you see that people like to collect that are licensed goods, whether it's DC or Marvel. T-shirts. We took a wall that had 50 T-shirts on it and we turned it into a wall that has 256 T-shirts and put it to the front of the store. Recreation and hobby. Comics. We're the largest comic distributor in the entire country. Expanding our vinyl category. We're one of the largest vinyl players in the country. Small electronics, kids, candy, all these businesses that were shrunk and smaller in size and that frankly at the back of the store now moved to the front of the store and showed us who the new Hastings was. Then we supported it with a lot of social media and email marketing. We got rid of the print part of it, and we started to become more relevant to a younger customer to show them what we're all about. And that was the exciting thing. We also took the store and made it more shoppable. We took the big fixtures that look like barriers to the whole store and moved them out of the way and created a U-shaped aisle through the whole store so people could walk through and browse. And we put things together to tell stories, whether it's DC or Marvel or Star Wars or Harry Potter. All these things now, we're telling stories so the customer come in and be immersed in those collections and get excited about it. And what happened? The results were the first store we did, we saw a 16-point change in the business versus the company trend.
Sales?
Sales.
Okay.
In the second store we did, which happens to be the one here on Georgia, we saw a 9-point change. And then we did another 18 stores, which we completed May 5th, and we've seen already a 5-point change. And historically, it grows like 5 points each month as the customer starts to get used to what we're trying to do. So it was very exciting. But unfortunately, we ran out of cash.
It's not quick enough.
And when you think about what we accomplished in 6 months, the team did an amazing job. I mean, I couldn't be prouder of what they've accomplished. But there were purchases that were made by past management that burdened the company and put us in a cash flow position that made it very difficult to run the business. We were spending too much money to support those businesses.
Is that the movie?
That's Movie Stop.
Movie Stop.
And SP Images was another one. So we were.
Tell me what Movie Stop and SP Images are for the people who don't know.
Movie Stop is about a 4,000 square foot, 41 store chain based in the Southeast that sold movies primarily.
Okay.
But it's tough when you're only dealing with 4,000 square feet and you're dealing with a product that continues to slide.
Right.
Slide south.
Because people are downloading.
Right. SP Images, they're a wholesaler to sporting goods stores.
Okay.
And not that there's not an opportunity there may be, but that's not our bailiwick.
Right.
So cash was going out to support them. The banks put increased pressure on us from a liquidity perspective, perfectly understandable. But that then made us tighten our purchasing power. So we were buying much less than we bought a year ago. That also created a downward cycle in terms of our sales, because when you're not bringing in the same amount of inventory as you were a year ago, that's hurting you. So we had downward sales, we had cash going out to support those other businesses. We knew we were racing against time, but unfortunately time ran out. But declaring Chapter 11 for us is a good thing. And it's a good thing for two reasons. It enables us to get rid of all these weights on our business that we need to get rid of that have been hurting liquidity. And it also enables us to reach out to potential investors to say, hey, look at us. We've got a model now that's working. We just need to get into all the stores. And by the way, we could get rid of all the stuff that you don't want to have anymore. We've already got the team. We've already got a proven model. Now we need someone to come in to invest in our businesses.
So what are investors are coming?
Investors are coming. We've had multiple investors that have been looking at our business, that have been talking to us. The auction takes place July 12th. I guess the close of bidding is done by the 15th of July. So we're going to know very quickly who's going to take us on. But we've had multiple people looking at our businesses. And in fact, today, I've already talked to 2 additional people that are potential investors.
Okay.
So there is a possibility for a wonderful story here and a great happy ending. Do I tell my team that there's great risk? Absolutely. Okay, they need to understand that. They need to understand that they have to manage their lives as they see fit.
Right.
I'm not going to be presumptuous enough to think otherwise.
How many stores and how many employees are we talking about?
We're talking about 3,850 employees. We're talking about 123 stores. We're talking about almost 500 people based in Amarillo, including our distribution center. We're talking about 1,250 people based in the state of Texas. So it's considerable. So when someone asks me what keeps me up at night, 3,850 jobs keep me up at night. Okay? And frankly, you know, something happened that I didn't expect would happen. I came here with a job to do and a challenge. I love retail and I love this kind of retail, but I fell in love with Hastings and I fell in love with the people.
When Joel Weinshaker bought the business, his company owns he owns the company that owns Hastings.
Correct.
And he's a licensing guru, for lack of a better term.
Yes.
Has the operating rights to Graceland.
Yep.
Also has made a licensing empire, I guess, off of Marilyn Monroe, Elvis, things like that.
Yep.
It was seen as a perfect fit because he was doing some of these things with pop culture and with icons and with figurines and things like that.
Yep.
How has he looked at Hastings, and what kind of changes has he seen, and where has he fit into the mix of what Hastings is doing now and where it's going?
Joel's been very supportive, incredibly supportive. I think that fit actually is a good fit. Unfortunately, we got ourselves encumbered with a couple of purchases that started draining cash out of us.
Were those made pre?
No, that was made
Joel?
through Draw Another Circle, which is Joel. And I think one of the things that Joel realized was he had too many irons in the fire. And how do we straighten this out? I think SP Images, quite frankly, is going to be sold. Movie Stop we're liquidating right now because that's a model that in 4,000 square feet is tough. But when you could expand the vision of Hastings and you're in 23,000 square feet And who's your competition? But Hot Topic and GameStop and FYE, and they're in 2,000 to 4,000 square feet, and we're 23,000. We could show products that nobody could even dream about showing in a way that we could show them better than anyone else. Frankly, it puts us in a position to do to our competition what Lowe's and Home Depot did to the mom and pop hardware stores years ago. Showing a great breadth of assortment in a tasty way, priced right, makes a very attractive business model.
Crystal ball, it's hard to say what would happen, but is selling the chain an idea that would draw another circle involved, or would draw another circle sell it outright?
Draw another circle would, in all likelihood, sell it outright.
Okay. And with new ownership, is it envisioned that they would buy the 20 stores that have been reset, or would they be looking to buy more than 20 stores, or is that negotiable?
I think all of that's negotiable.
Okay.
I can't speak for those investors yet. They're all doing their due diligence.
Right.
They're all asking a lot of questions. There may be a few stores that we're going to close. I would say a handful, maybe a few more than that. But in all likelihood, the beauty of us and being in these secondary and tertiary markets creates a great opportunity for an investor to invest in the bulk of our store count.
Transworld Entertainment, you worked for them for 5 years. They have FYE, which has just recently been written up as having had a good quarter at the end of 2015, and is also seeing some success with the pop culture merchandise. Is that the way for all of these things to go when the downloads and of music and movies and things like that are killing off other pieces of that entertainment business, or?
Well, I think that each business has to look at what their strengths are and where their opportunities are. I can't speak for Transworld Entertainment. I haven't been there for years. But I would think that any good merchant is going to look at their stores and see what the need for, where the demand is for certain items of their businesses, and say those are the businesses we want to explode. For us, it was pretty apparent. We had all these great businesses that we weren't feeding the way that we should. We weren't showing them the way that we should. And once we did that test with a couple of stores and saw it work, and then expanded it to 20 and said, okay, we could roll out 20 stores a month. We've got a great team that could do that. There's no reason why we shouldn't.
You've got Amarillo's kind of a different crowd, a different audience for you to play out this idea of changing the store wholeheartedly. While you've got and seen, I guess, a change in sales among your customers, you've got the old nostalgia people who know what Hastings has always been,
right.
And how hard is it to change the minds of the folks who always think of it as the movies and music place?
Well, I think it's a few things. First of all, Hastings is all about entertainment. That's really what we are, is an entertainment superstore. Now, entertainment could be called a lot of different things. For the older customer, we still have our books, we still have our movies, we still have our music, and we still have our rental. As long as that product performs, we will continue to keep it in there. But beyond all of that, Hastings is really something for the whole family. You know, mom could come in and shop the book department while the kids play in the children's area, while the teens are shopping comics or shopping apparel or pop vinyl, while grandfather is looking in the rental section. And beyond that, the one thing that our customer has always known us for is we are a great gift store. And when it comes to gift times, whether it's Christmas or Mother's Day or Father's Day or Valentine's Day, that customer is coming to our store to find something to buy. We think now we still have all the old great stuff, but we've got all this new great stuff too.
It's no secret that brick and mortar retailers have been working to try to figure out what keeps them, you know, in physical stores for a while now. And a lot of the retail trend pieces I read are talking about how retailers are trying to make it about experience. What is Hastings doing in that area besides just making it a place where everybody can go get something? What are you doing?
Right. Well, once a week we have a game tournament going on in our stores. A couple times a month we have Magic the Gathering or card games that are going on in our stores. We continue to add to that. Our next feeling is there's a whole cosplay, dress up, anime opportunity that we think could be a whole lot of fun too. So the thinking really is that not only do we have the great product, but let's continue to have these events in every one of our stores at least once a week, hopefully 2 and 3 times a week as we get our sea legs on that, and continue to bring those people in for an experience beyond just shopping. Don't forget, we also have coffee shops in there too so that they can hang out as well. So there's a lot of different things going on, and the kids can play in the children's area too. So there's a lot of different things happening there. The nice thing is when you talk to our customers and they say, I just spent 2 hours in that store, and I couldn't get enough of it. They're not coming in for a 3-minute browse and buy something and get out of there. They're coming in there to really shop and check everything out. And as long as we continue to offer unique experiences for them and stuff that they can't see and find anywhere else, that's what's going to drive them there. It becomes that hangout. We hear this thing about retail's dead and retail's going away. Maybe basic retail is suffering right now, but I think each individual store or chain has to be looked at individually for their strengths and their weaknesses and what they could do. And the ones that are winning are the ones that are figuring out how to engage that consumer. And we engage them through social media, we engage them in the store with activities and events, and we engage them with product.
What do you think it's going to take to close a deal with one of those investors?
I think that they have to see and get excited about the vision as much as the Hastings team is. And we've been very fortunate so far that we've had a few people that have seen that. So look, there's a bill to be paid, and we don't need to get into the details of that. But if they've got the money to be able to pay that bill, and they see the vision, and they see how it's accretive to what they do right now, then I think it's a no-brainer. They've got to fall in love with the stores just as much as we have.
What are you telling employees at this point?
I'm being very forthright with them. We've got 3 or 4 weeks before we find out an answer. I understand the stress and strain that this has on their families. We're asking them that they view us as go forward, but understand that there's great risk, and they have to do what they have to do, and that's all I could say. I don't want to manage their lives. They need to manage their lives. But if they could give us 3 or 4 weeks to find out what's going on, that would be a great thing. If they can't, I understand. But I will tell you the feedback from the Hastings team has been incredibly positive. It's been incredibly supportive. I couldn't be prouder of a team of people that I'm having the privilege to work with.
Jim Litwak, I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks.